Hey guys, welcome to episode 11 of the After Zero podcast. We have the same crew as normal. And how you guys feeling today? You doing good?
You know
I
how
just
I'm
woke
feeling.
up.
Just woke up? I just want you all to know who are watching this that it's 11 p.m.
My
And we
man's
ju-
got
well,
2 shades of gray on right now, and then we got
I
gangrene.
got sweats on too, the 50 Shades of Grey. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a sad day for what the fuck I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, it's Monday night. The Eagles just lost. Their 8-0 record. Now they're now 8-1.
8-1.
And they lost to the sorry ass Washington football team. Forgot they can't say Redskins.
Washington Commanders.
Fuck!
Now.
See, I can't keep up with these fucking names,
What,
dude.
what year you living in, Jared?
Listen, that shit changes so fucking fast.
It's alright. You caught yourself in time. It's all good.
Yeah, it's
been a rough evening.
It's a weird time. I think it's a weird time for sports. I think like this year's NFL season is like quite literally dog shit. This is like the most drop passes I've ever seen in my life. And I think it's also a weird time for gaming too.
The worst fucking ref calls.
I was say, what's going on? Because I've definitely been hyper focused just on WoW and deleting a million characters, finding a main.
That's so true.
Which I'm finally playing Shaman for the first time ever.
Weird.
I'm a Shaman main now.
Well, what I was gonna say was
the third time ever because you like deleted, remade, leveled.
Yeah, no, he just wants to really experience the game. I mean, like every time Chris makes a character, it has to be deleted at some point.
He just loves.
Like I told Jordan, look,
experience.
I'm just speedrunning WoW. I got the efficient pass, to get all the achievements in the way at the same time.
He's waiting for in 10 years when they relaunch this version of WoW, it'll be world's first, and he can like stream it and all that shit. But what I was gonna say was it's a weird time for sports, and it is a weird time for gaming. Did you guys see the reviews that this kind of caused like a whole thing? There was Sonic, the Frontiers game, like Frontiers.
You talking about the video game donkey stuff?
Yeah, well, so it has
good
higher.
Reviews. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so it has higher reviews than Elden Ring, and people were kind of like, "There's no way this is a better game than Elden Ring." And people were kind of like throwing shots at Donkey because he made a whole video about it. He was like,
"Yeah,
how the fuck is this even a thing?" And people were basically saying he pushed people to review bomb it.
To review bomb
Frontier.
Yeah, and I mean its score went down. Like it went down a little bit, nothing crazy, but
I think how he would do that. I know Donkey really loves Elden Ring. Like it's definitely like one of his.
He didn't go out of his way to like say go review bomb this. It was just more like, how is this a thing?
People took it.
We need to change this, and people were like, you know what? You're right. We should change this.
Yeah, he has his videos get over a million views all the time. So
and people were trying to like pin it on him by like making accounts on the review website with like Donkey told me to do this or
oh my god,
Duncan Knight or whatever the hell.
But I think it's interesting how much influence someone like him can have, especially as someone who now has a publishing company. We talked about that in like our third or second episode. And he has his own publishing company, so I'm like, imagine the power he holds where he can just review bomb other games that come out around his game.
Right.
So did he play Frontier, or he was just like surprised?
I'm not too sure. I didn't watch his video. Did you watch his video, Shaun?
No, I didn't. I just saw the stuff all over Twitter.
I mean, usually he does, so I assume that he did try it.
Because he's played Sonic games in the past, so I would assume he.
I mean, yeah, he plays fucking everything, so I'm sure he did play it, but. It was just more like people talking about the culmination of everyone coming together and kind of review bombing it. I don't even think it's really a review bomb, other than the fact that, like, I don't know. The game's not supposed to have a better score than Elden Ring, according to people. I don't see an issue with it.
Well, I mean the talk of game of the year, that's been the thing, is those 3 games are probably the top 3 that I hear about. It's always, the top 2, Elden Ring and God of War.
Yeah.
And then third coming in is Sonic Frontier.
Because
well,
God of
people
War
were talking about before it even came out,
yesterday?
which was funny. It's like, this is going to be game of the year. And it's like, the game's not even out yet. Calm down. Like,
you talking about Ragnarok or are you talking about Sonic?
Sonic.
Were people saying that? That was a thing?
Yeah. Like, people were like, it comes out November 8th. Like, wait, chill.
Interesting. I did not know that was a take. I guess I never heard anything about the game, so
I think it's also, even if it is a better game, it's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. That the Sonic cartoony ass game.
Well, I think it's just that
is a better game than Elden Ring.
I mean, I haven't played it, but I think when people just think of it, they're like, "Is this a better game than Elden Ring?" No, but I feel like a game can be technically better without feeling better. You get what I'm saying? Like, it has great vision, or it can almost have no negatives. Where
Mhm.
you know, like to me, I think Elden Ring has a lot of negatives for me
Oh.
personally, but
Especially
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Elden Ring fans, like they die by that shit. Like they
Yeah.
live and breathe Elden Ring. And
Oh
what's
yeah,
that
dude.
company
I mean,
called? And those the Souls games in
The
general.
Souls games.
what the fuck? Yeah,
Our
yeah.
game's the hardest game out there, and
It's
this is
just
a masterpiece.
I mean-
The thing is, people say that shit, and then I watch a chick, I forget her name.
Play DDR?
Beat the hardest boss in the game with a DDR mat.
Yeah, she
Like,
beat every boss in the game with a DDR mat. Actually,
That's like,
yeah.
Okay.
There's
I mean,
people doing all these challenges, but I think that's what's interesting about the game is because it's considered like difficult. I think it's just a dance more than anything. Like
Well,
Yeah.
it's just a routine. It's not anything
I was
that's
about to say it's
crazy.
it is difficult, but it's no different than any other game. You play it enough, you learn it enough. It's gonna be the same. Like we played it ourselves. Every fight, like it just gets to a point where you know it, so you can like, oh, I dodge here, swing, dodge here.
Yeah, I
swing.
mean it's no different than like
Yeah.
WoW rating.
You
Oh,
have the
this
patience and the
mechanic.
perseverance. Yeah.
Right,
I
this
think-
mechanic happens, move to this side of the room. This mechanic happens, everyone's
Yeah.
stacked together. So I think in WoW it's different because it's a group of people, whereas Elden Ring, it's just you. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just not as.
I mean, it's definitely
captivating
hard
for
when
me.
you like they make you play through mud the entire time. Like with
That's-
the
I
movement and
think
stuff.
that's
Yeah.
what's strong about it. Is like the movement is so you feel like you're constantly walking through a fucking swamp. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's difficult when I have like my fucking arm tied behind my back and I have no
Yeah.
legs and I have to run. Yeah, it's pretty fucking
it's
hard.
like, yeah, this game's different because like it takes you 10 years to recover from this roll, and I'm like, oh shit, this
I-
boss one shot me no matter how many points I put into HP.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Like-
why like solo player games for me just don't do it anymore, because it's so choreographed a dance that like I just get bored of trying to do that dance perfectly every time.
Yeah, we
I-
kind of
I-
had this conversation the other day too, and it's funny because the things that bothered me about single player games were the things you liked about single player games. Like I hate that every game has to be a platformer and it has to be Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed esque.
Right. We were
I
talking about
fucking hate
Jedi
that-
Fallen Order.
Yeah, I hate
Yeah.
that concept so much. Like not
Damn, I
every
miss
game
Prince of
needs
Persia.
not every game needs fucking parkour is all my thing is. Like it just sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah,
it-
I feel like open world games, like the Assassin's Creed games, like I like that aspect of traversal of doing
Well, I think it
cool
makes
shit
sense
off
in
the
that story
walls
too,
or-
right? Like,
Yeah, like I like sitting there and doing those things and having those extra elements because then I can change the fight up. Like if I want to do this move off of a wall or jump off of the top of a cliff and do something, or something along the lines of that. It lets me change the gameplay up so that the encounter isn't just me going in and dodge rolling everywhere and then striking, dodge rolling
Yeah.
everywhere and striking.
I think my issue with it is that the platforming is like too rudimentary in terms of there's no difficulty in the platforming. So
Right.
once you play it after like 5 hours, you're like, okay, I get to the tedious platforming part. Unless it's like puzzle based and things like that, that will keep me
Yeah.
more engaged. But a lot of times the platforming just like turns off for me. And what I noticed playing
can
Jedi
see
Fallen
that.
Order in the first fucking cutscene, like in the first chapter of the game, you're like on this train and the
Uh-huh.
train like splits open and it does like this, so you purposely have to climb here. And I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
that's
the,
so whack.
But
But
that's,
actually-
that's the tutorial part where it's like,
It's
all right,
so
you press these
dumb.
keys to
Well,
fucking wall run.
well, I was sitting there trying to think of it because I honestly have been kind of out of the single player game, and I just kind of been playing competitive shit for a while.
Yeah.
But like, bring up Jedi Fallen Order. Just thinking about that game, I'm like, why is there parkour in that game? Like,
Yeah, just
like,
generally, why
like why,
Because-
why does it have to be that kind of adventure game when we're talking about Jedi's, especially when you have like Force Leap and shit like this? Like
Because
like, it-
respawn.
Like,
Well,
you get what I'm
you're
saying?
not
Like,
wrong. You're not
I feel
wrong.
like
It's an
that's
EA game. It's a fucking
That's-
EA game.
that's all it
Case
is.
closed.
Talking to the
Because-
point that Jared's talking about, though, where it's
Titanfall.
like all these games have this. It's like it makes sense in those games, and then you have Jedi Fallen Order, where it's like we're Jedi's. We don't give a shit about parkouring. Like, let us use
Right.
our force powers. Let us do, even if it's like
If-
puzzles with our force power. Like that's a huge staple. Are puzzles.
If you
right?
think
Like,
about the
different
single
like that.
player Star Wars GOAT, it's fucking Knights of the Old Republic, right? It's KOTOR.
Right.
There, bar none, it's KOTOR, and that game doesn't have one fucking
Dude,
part of parkour. Okay,
Imagine like being in those like the battle scenes, right? Like you get in like you play through in Battlefront, but like on the Jedi side, in a single player kind of way,
yeah.
or like guide you through the battles and doing shit like that.
I guess
Instead
it's-
of like relying on parkour.
I guess
to
it's just kind of like
venture
take
around.
taking a like different approach to the Jedi games, because like you had like the games like the Force Unleashed, which I'll say that Fallen Order, as far as combat goes, kind of feels like. But they had the open
I
world
still regret
aspect
never
of
playing
it.
those games because they always look.
Do you know
really
what? Do you know
Oh,
what
dude, they're
Fallen
so
Order?
good.
You know what Fallen Order feels like, and like, hang with me. I just
What?
played Spider-Man PS4
Okay.
again. I 100%
Man.
this. Huh?
The Spider-Man.
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 I just played that, and I played through the single player 100%ed the whole game and every single
Yeah, that
DLC
game needs
pack.
parkour. Yes, that
Right?
makes sense.
Right? And I'm playing Jedi Fallen Order. I'm like, why does my gameplay loop feel like Spider-Man? Like,
Yeah.
in a very rough way, it's not that different, which isn't a bad thing because I think the combat's really good. I would say that Batman Arkham City has the best combat for that system.
Never played it. Yeah, Anna has it. I haven't
What?
played it yet. Yeah.
Hold on. You've never played Arkham Asylum, City, or any of them?
Nope.
All right,
Anna's
so
been
I want
trying
you to
get me play
fucking
it
get
for
off
forever.
the podcast right now and go play that shit. Dude, I promise
Load it
you,
up on the TV right
that
now.
shit. Okay, specifically play City because that's the best one. Like Arkham City,
Okay.
to me, is probably one like is the best single player Batman game. It's one of my favorite single player like comic book esque games or like that style.
Yeah.
It's just
superhero game.
I don't know. The only negative I have about the game is normal single player game like bullshit, like collectibles. Like,
Yeah.
all these goddamn collectibles. Because you want that sense of achievement and you want that 100%. But it's like, hey, go do all these Riddler trophy bullshit things. And you're
Yeah.
Well, like
it can be
that's the content
frustrating.
of the single player game. There's like after the story, that's kind of all they have to go
The
with.
story for Arkham City is phenomenal. The gameplay is phenomenal. The like traversal as Batman is amazing. You can also get the DLC pack to have the suit from Batman Beyond, which just like
Okay.
chef's kiss, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, see, I feel like the reason I didn't play it is because I wasn't a huge DC guy. So I just, and then on top of that,
And
when
also,
it came
Batman
out,
stands are the worst.
when
Can
it
we-
came out, it just wasn't like, I'm not really into solo player games anymore.
Gotcha.
So, like, and I got to thinking about it just now. I think the reason why is because I played a lot of single player games when I was younger, but I always had my sisters around while I was playing, right? So they were either watching me or they were player 2, right? And we were playing the co-op or whatever. But now, when I sit down, I want to game with friends, and I like to game competitively. So single player games just don't fit that anymore because if I sit down, I just get bored playing by myself. I don't have anyone to interact with. I don't
That
have
makes
anyone
sense.
to talk to anymore. So single player games don't really grab me. Like I was playing Cult of the Lamb, but when I was playing Cult of the Lamb, I had my wife next to me, and we were hanging out playing Cult of the Lamb together, and then we'd swap off.
So what if you were streaming the single player?
No. Continues to play Overwatch solo.
Streaming, yeah, but at least there's people I can talk to, and every game isn't the same.
Doesn't use his mic to talk.
All
to
right.
Doesn't never calms a single call out ever. The only calm you get from Shaun is like motherfucker.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Also,
Why the
can we talk
fuck
about
are
something?
we by ourselves?
What's with this goatee look we got going here? What is this?
Oh, what's wrong with the Tony Stark, huh?
Yeah, I was about to say, what is this? You don't look like Tony Stark. You look like the guy in oh my fucking god, this guy. Those look way
definitely
too
Tony
big for
Stark.
your
Yeah,
head.
dude,
You see how it ends, like, right
so
here?
hold on,
It's
so hold
definitely
on,
Tony Stark.
so hold on. This is when I realized that he has such a bigger head than me because these are the 1-to-1 scale replicas from the movie.
Christ.
I was
Okay,
like,
so
yo,
can I just say-
this motherfucker's
Man got
head
a
is
fat ass
huge.
head.
So
What the
can
hell?
I just say, you don't look like Tony Stark. You look like the guy from Iron Man 3 who has like the cable van. He's like, yeah, I tailored my whole
that
look
guy,
after
he's
you.
like, I tailored
And
my
he's
whole
like,
look.
He's like, and I got this tattoo, but it's off a drawing that I did. That's you. You look like Tony, you look like that guy.
I mean, honestly,
I
you
don't think it
look
looks bad.
you look like a basic football fan now, especially since you're wearing like the Eagles shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, you look like every. You
Like,
look like
when's the
every
next
quarterback
tailgate,
coach I've
Sean?
ever
Hey,
seen.
I don't think it looks bad.
No,
No
when's
one
the next
said it looked
tailgate,
bad.
Sean?
Yeah. I was like, I don't think it looks bad.
It's like
I just
hey,
tried something else. I don't know.
How's the youth
She got-
football team doing this season? That's what it looks like.
Oh, we're looking great. Couple
Yeah, I
of
really
prospects.
think I think we're actually gonna win the champ this year. You know, so got a couple
recruited.
good guys on the team.
Recruited
Did you guys
pretty
hear
well.
anything about what's it called when it came out?
What?
I know I was interested at first. The DC game that's like Batman, but it's the 4 other side characters.
Batman Arkham Knights. Okay.
Arkham Knights.
Yeah,
Oh.
so I'm still interested in it. I actually have a friend who's played it, and you know the homie Kyle,
Yeah.
who played with it before. He plays it. I saw him on it the other day. I was gonna ask him what he thought, but one of my homies said it's actually really fun. The combat's fun, but I heard it's not as good as the Arkham games, which is kind of a letdown for me because I almost feel like that's the whole yeah. You know how the Souls games, you feel like you're trudging through like mud. It's a lot like that as well because the combat's not as free flowing as the Arkham games are, and just some of the interactions are really odd looking. And I've seen video of it too, like when I was watching a gameplay of it. There was like a part where they're like jumping, but it just looks so funny. Like it looks really like when you don't. So like when you dodge, your character does this like generic ass roll, and it looks really fucking stupid. But when you dodge next to something, you like jump over them, and it looks really smooth. So it's like some of the animations don't like mix together well from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Anna was excited for the game until she saw the Harley Quinn model. She was like, "That looks so dumb."
Oh,
like,
I
her
haven't
outfit
seen
looks
that.
dumb. Yeah, so Harley Quinn looks really strange. Doesn't look like anything from any of the comics, and she just wasn't about it.
Well, I mean, Red Hood has a fucking like Batman thing on there. That's what surprised me. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, which he does have that in some of the things. I just thought it was interesting. I went with that. On top of that, the Red Hood that's in the game, he uses 2 pistols the whole time.
Yeah.
So I've heard that his combat is really boring, like his fighting style, in comparison to Nightwing.
I thought that was like his thing. I thought you were gonna say something like he's missing.
Well, I mean, I think
motherfucker looking like Devil May Cry.
Shit, but
yeah, looking like Dante.
Yeah,
like Dante,
like the Arkham games
haircut.
play style with 2 pistols is just kind of odd.
Yeah, like, no, that's what people were saying. Like, it's not as fun as playing like Nightwing or playing Robin or anything like that.
Although, I mean, we've all played what's it called? We've all played DNF Duel. I thought they did a really cool thing as far as like a person that has a ranged weapon, making them kind of like a melee person, such as what was his name? Not sharpshooter or troubleshooter. The other guy, Hitman.
Hitman.
He has the katana with the Uzi.
Yeah.
And what he does is like he'll do a slash with his Uzi that like shows shots coming out, but it's like a slash attack.
Yeah.
I almost feel like when you brought up, Red Hood, you could do attacks like that to make it look like instead of you just pew pew, pew pew, pew pew.
Yeah.
To give it
to
make characteristic.
He's bullet punching.
More interactive.
Well, if you think of like Squall and like the whole gunblade thing, like that type of concept almost.
Well, I was thinking like Lost Ark with the dual pistols.
Oh my god.
I mean, sure, but speaking of DC games, yeah, I mean that's all I've heard of it. But I don't know if you guys ever saw. There was like a tech demo that came out like 4 years ago. There was a guy who made this Superman game. It's a really good Superman emulator, and it was just meant to like harness and show what Unreal Engine 5 could do. And so he put out this video. There's like a free demo you could play, and it's in like the Matrix. Do you remember that Matrix open world game? It was like Matrix Unloaded. It's actually that city,
Matrix Reloaded and
shit. But you play Superman. Yeah, so he posted that for free, and it was just like I said, like a concept, and people were like pushing for this guy to get funding and wanted to see if DC would back him, and he's like a solo dev. And honestly, like if you have the time, you should look it up and watch the video. But
what was it called? The game.
Just look up Superman Unreal Engine 5 and you'll find it. Yeah. But this dude posts this shit and some company copyright struck him, took the game off, and then released it on Steam for $11.
So what's the game called on Steam?
They called it... Oh, I don't even know. I don't even think I have it in my notes.
My man's got grandma's, boy.
Yeah, so like basically play Superman that's flying. It's called
Asshole Stole My Game.
Asshole Stole My Game.
It's called Heroes City Superman Edition, and it released this month. But it's legit. They released it for $11. Like they just like quite literally stole it from him and then released it, which I feel like is super bold. It's one thing to like copyright strike him, but it's another to just like straight up post his game and then make money off of it, which I don't know how that's
not only that,
out.
Fucking trademark it.
Yeah, right. So he can't post it again because it's like, oh no, it's our property. Like,
stole his shit and then made it theirs.
That's crazy.
It's just like a wild fucking. I don't know.
They straight ran his pockets over Superman.
There's nothing you can do about it because he didn't set up anything like legally beforehand.
Nope. So. What was crazy to me is I don't know how they
I'm
sell
sure
that because it's like Superman's intellectual property. So what does he have? Like a fucking A on his chest instead? Like what's
He's
the?
got. They gotta have some kind of. He's gotta have some kind of legal grounds to stand on.
Oh no, he 100% does. There's no way he
There's
doesn't.
gotta be.
Especially
There's
if he
no
has
way.
proof that he posted it first and there's no other record of it. Like,
Yeah.
he has everything. They have no ground to stand on.
I
from
have the
what I
original
would do.
game disc.
This
And
isn't
also, like,
Grandma's boy, dude.
hopefully the story's like big enough too, so people like also like realize it and just don't like participate. Like 'cause
Weird.
that would be a huge thing too. Is just like
Intellectual property being stolen? That's never happened.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just like such a bizarre. I've never thought about someone doing that to someone,
Yeah.
but it's just like I don't know. It made me
like
laugh.
Shaun said, it happens all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it's just in that capacity. It just made me laugh. Where I was just like, dude, get fucked. Like honestly, what do you do besides like lawyer up? Like, there's
that
nothing.
Dev put too
Yeah.
much trust in people. Like,
Yeah, I
It's just-
mean, at the same time, maybe he doesn't care though, because he was just like, "Oh, this is for fun." I thought this was a cool idea because I feel like he could have posted on Steam for money before that.
did he give any takes on it? Like, did he say anything?
I don't think he had.
Or
a
like
comment
someone
in
just saw
public.
this and this is turned into a thing off of that.
It's turned into a thing off that. I'm
Yeah.
sure you could probably get like enough TikTok push or something to get this shit fixed, but
Right.
I don't know. I just thought it was
Good
like,
old
super
tic-tac.
interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if Steam rips that down soon.
Yeah, but I feel like that's where like cancel type of culture comes into play in like a positive way.
Yeah.
Like that's like the whole point of cancel culture. To stop
That's where
stupid
cancel
shit
is
like
supposed
that.
to
That,
be.
that was the origins of it, you know?
Right,
It was
right,
like,
and then it's like
And then
festers
they
into
had a
this
whole
weird
they had a whole
thing.
villain arc now, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
use these powers for good. You were
With great
supposed to
power
save the
comes great
force.
resp-
dude, they
He
they
was the
lived too long.
chosen one.
He was
They
the
just
Anakin.
become the
chosen one.
villain.
No, did you say the fucking Batman quote? We went full circle here.
Yeah.
No, but okay, in all seriousness though, anyone who's watching this or even Shaun, like, you have to play those fucking games. They're so
Yeah.
good. Like those Batman games are some of my favorites on console.
Yeah.
I think I've played every single one because there was Batman Arkham Origins, which was like
Mhm.
a prequel. That one's really good. You
Did
fight
you play the Spider-Man
Deathstroke.
game, Sean?
I did, yeah.
So
I didn't
combat's
complete
more
it.
fluid than the Spider-Man combat is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
That's
gonna
what,
say,
that's what makes it feel so good.
okay. I was gonna say
It's-
because I didn't finish Spider-Man, but I played a decent amount.
They also do a good job of making your hits feel impactful with the way they do the effects when you're hitting somebody.
Okay.
It's also they do a really good job of making your gadgets, like the whole thing that Spider-Man had with his gadgets is purely
Yeah.
based off the Batman games. Like in the capacity that it was, he has a whole fucking tool belt of gadgets you can use where like
okay.
you have
Yeah, and
very creative
Is
ones
it-
you can
is
do
it-
and
Is it
This
GTA
game isn't.
Batman?
no, I wouldn't say
No,
it's
no, no.
GTA.
What's nice about a game like that too is like it's not like Ultimate Alliance where you only have like 4 abilities for your
Mhm.
character. There's actually some depth to your character to create them in a certain way.
He
Yeah.
also like it's like it always makes me laugh because the thing is like, oh, Batman doesn't kill people. I'm like, I don't know with how hard I'm hitting these dudes.
With how many times I'm hitting them, like is he
It's
knocked
also
out? I don't know.
it's also I think it kind of plays into the whole like lore of Batman, how he doesn't have like superpowers per se, but
Yeah.
the way this motherfucker flies across the screen, like it kind of sells that he's a comic book superhero. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the combat, like you can go super fucking fast, where you're like jumping around the room, fucking punching people out and shit.
Right. This
And
is old school comic Batman, not current Batman. Right.
Right, and I don't
Okay.
know, it makes the game feel really good. It makes the combat super smooth because you're just
Mhm.
like fucking jumping around. It has really clean counters where you're just like fucking breaking people's arms and shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like the impact of him beating people's asses feels like really good. You know,
Mhm.
like in the new Batman movie when he fights those dudes and he's like punching them
like
out.
in the club. Yeah.
Vengeance.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels it feels like that. Wait, what?
Okay.
That's an
On
vengeance.
vengeance.
Vengeance. Bro, you
Vengeance.
sell a dime bag in Gotham, and then the fucking lights are on. Vengeance.
God,
Where's the Joker?
God, talking about all these superhero games, I was just like, I want a good superhero game that isn't just Spider-Man or Batman. Like,
So-
I don't know why it's so hard to like make
I
other ones good.
think they're like the easiest to do because they're also stories that people know and they're characters that already have pre-established audiences. Like
Mhm.
if I went and made a Shazam game, it'd be pretty difficult.
Yeah, but But even then, when these like the original forms of these games came out, like the PS2 Spider-Man game, when you're on the rooftops and shit, like this game was good back then.
Dude, I
Or
played
the first time the
what was it?
Batman Arkham games came out, that game was
NES.
good on release. You know,
The Carnage game for Super
Never played
NES.
that.
I don't think I
That
played
game
one.
was that game was so
Pretty much
good.
any like Nintendo staples I've probably tried but never like really played. You know what I mean?
I never really dove into that.
Yeah, we were like all PlayStation for the most part. But I mean that Marvel Avengers game came out. I never played that one, so I can't really speak on. Some people really enjoy it though. Some people really enjoy it. It has positive reviews on Steam.
It is so awkward, dude. The combat
I've
system
watched
in that
it.
game is so
Yeah, I've
awkward.
watched it.
Also,
Like-
the characters just look awkward.
So like it was
Yeah, they do.
it's free with PlayStation Plus,
Mhm.
right? And so when we got the PS5,
sorry,
I
what was that?
downloaded it.
PC Master Race, what?
Oh my.
Dumb as fuck.
Anywho,
Dumb as fuck.
I was sitting there and like I was trying it out, and clearly I'm gonna pick Iron Man, right? Because like he doesn't want to fly around and fucking unibeam.
I thought you were a
shit.
Captain America stan.
Hey.
What happened?
I am. I
Dude,
played both.
This
So
motherfucker
here's-
Sean would have
so
signed the
here's the thing.
Sokovia Accords. That's
I
all
was
I
saying,
heard,
right,
dude.
Sean
So-
signed his life
so-
away. That's what happened.
So here's the thing, right? So I get in there and you know it's trying to teach you how to fly around, like the combat and shit, right? And when you're on the ground and shooting using your unibeam, like your abilities feels good, right? As soon as you go to aerial combat in that fucking game, it's like the game just decided they were like, you know what? We can't do air combat. We're gonna throw it in there, but fuck it, it's just not gonna work.
Do you know what it looks like? Do you know what that game actually reminds me of? There's like the Lego Marvel Avengers games where you like
Yes.
hover and you can
Yes.
shoot. It looks exactly like that,
Dude.
but with actual 3D models that aren't Lego based.
But
Yeah,
why is
dude.
Lego so good?
It's so fucking like I don't know. It just felt clunky and awkward, which was like a lot of the reviews that I was reading.
Yeah.
But then you go to like Cap, and Cap felt good except for throwing the shield. Throwing the shield felt like shit, which
Really?
is weird. Yeah, like the
I feel
the
like he would
melee-
take extra time to make sure that felt good because that's like a
That's
staple.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Right, you would think, right? The same
Yeah.
thing with like flying around and using your repulsors, right? Like
Mhm.
you would think that those things they would focus on, but like no, the melee combat is fine, right? It's actiony and fun, but then as soon as you go to doing anything unique with the characters, it just feels like shit.
Well, I think
Right.
the story of this game too is like one that I hate.
The
where it's
story's
like,
weird.
You know what? No, I'm sorry.
I couldn't tell you
the,
what
the
it's
story
about.
of the life of the game. It's like this game came out, it did okay or not so good. Like it was leaning more
Mhm.
towards the negative side, but it got better over the years. Like I'm really starting to hate that model of like relying on patches
Yeah.
to make your game into
No.
a
I
new
don't.
game.
I don't think
Now-
that it wasn't that it was like patches that did it. I think it just had like some glitches that were game breaking for people. I
well-
don't recall it being
Well,
like.
it was that in the
updates.
gear system that's in it. The
Well,
gear
I'm
system.
just talking
Is
about like
that what it was?
It's
relying
super
on
pay to
updates
win.
to make your game proper instead of like just
It's a pay to win
you
game.
know releasing the game in a good state.
Now,
essentially.
funny thing about superhero games, there's a mobile Marvel game that is an MMO, right? And
Oh,
the
yeah,
story, the story around it is the whole multiverse thing.
Are you doing
right?
the gotcha thing? Is that the one you're talking about? With the
it's-
swiping
it's-
combat on the phone?
No, not that one.
Oh.
It's an actual like
Strike Force?
MMO. No, not Strike Force.
No.
It's
Can you give us the name?
yeah. Give me a second.
Is it the like
It's,
Black Suns or whatever or some shit?
It is.
So when
Isn't
you
that
had
a
me
different
download
game?
at some point. It came out in
Well,
like
Black
the
Suns
last
is, like, a
year.
different
I think
2
it's either Marvel Future Fight. I think it's Future Fight. 'cause
Future
it's made
Fight.
by
Future
Net-
Fight.
Yeah, that was
it's-
the
it's-
other one.
because it's made by Netmarble. So, Netmarble's the one that helped develop Diablo Immortal, right? So
okay.
the gameplay is a lot like Diablo, right? But superheroes, and it's from the perspective of like WoW's perspective, that third person camera, right?
Okay.
But it's action
That's actually
combat,
cool.
so there's like locks and stuff like that when you're playing characters that are ranged.
This dude, hold on. This dude's really just trying to sell us on a fucking.
No,
mobile
no,
game
no,
while we're on
no,
the
I'm-
podcast.
I'm-
he,
I'm
he
comparing
doesn't give a rat's ass. He's
no,
like,
no,
yeah,
no.
like in
For
actuality,
this.
there's like, there's like,
no, I'm
there's
legit- I'm legit-
raids. And if you actually use my code,
I never did any of that.
Dragging it up.
I always knew out of the three of us you would be the sellout.
I'm not sponsored by Marvel Future
yeah,
Fight.
this motherfucker's like it raised
I'm
Shadow
comparing
Legends.
it.
Like,
Oh my god. No, I'm comparing it. So like, because I'll play fucking gotcha games and shit, but like the way that the game is set up, it actually feels like an MMO. Everybody looks different, even though there's multiple Iron Mans, right? There's multiple Caps, right? they did like the classic
do you know what
outfits and
it?
stuff.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like the one that was on PC. Do you remember there was that Marvel?
Sounds like a top-down one though.
Yeah, it was a lot like Diablo though. And it was
Okay.
on PC, and everyone had like different gears. So there was like slight variations.
Well,
even
it was
though
like
everyone's
they did like different outfits from all the different comic books and stuff like that, which is
Yep.
cool. And then so you have your normal gear system that you get like Diablo, right? But then like your perks and the way that you modify like your kit is all comic book covers,
It's cool.
which I thought was cool, right? So like when you complete dungeons or you complete raids and stuff like that, you collect comic book covers, and the different rarities affect your moves and stuff like that in different ways. But the thing about it is that when you're playing Iron Man in that game, there is free flight, and it feels amazing, right?
You're like this fucking random app.
I'm like,
has-
this fucking
This
mobile game. This mobile game gets Iron Man's combat right, but a full-fledged like Unreal Engine made Avengers game can't get this shit right.
I mean, in all fairness, that Avengers game kind of like popped out of nowhere, I feel like. And then
Yeah.
also, like Wiggers mentioned, the overall game like looks funny. Like the characters' faces look funky.
awkward.
Captain America and Thor look weird. Hulk looks, I don't know. Everyone as a whole in that game looks fucking odd. So I feel like Square Enix just like rushed it out. Like whoever from Square Enix worked whatever team, just like they had a contract with Marvel and they had to push it out, which kind of makes me sad because I feel like there was a really good opportunity there to make a really good game.
Well, I don't know if you guys know. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say their partnership, I think, kind of stemmed from the original when Insomniac Games got the green light from Marvel, because Marvel went to Insomniac Games after they made Sunset Overdrive. They're like, hey, we want you to make any fucking comic book character you want. We want you to make a game for them. Pick. And Insomniac was like, Spider-Man, because they all loved Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. They're also making a Wolverine game now, which I think comes out next year, 2024.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's right.
I have a contact now at Insomniac Games.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big man over here.
Anna,
What does that
hook
mean?
that up.
What does that mean? What is a contact?
Off podcast, I'll say.
Like I don't care for Wolverine, but I'll still play that game because like I loved what Insomniac did with Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I think it'll push that genre forward a lot, and I think it'll open the door for more games. And also, I want to see Insomniac keep making them because they're one of my favorite studios anyway. So
as long as they don't make the gameplay the same for each one, which I think that we're gonna see if they do that approach with Wolverine, with him being such a different superhero from Spider-Man. I think we're gonna be able to see into that. And I was gonna say with the Marvel game as well, it's like it seemed like one of those that just came out as a cash grab because of how well the movies were doing at the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I don't even remember it being announced. It was just like, oh hey, this game's here now, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it was announced and it was like released like a couple months later. It felt like
you could see it in their monetization model too. So like the in-game shop, they sell the outfits from all of the movies and shit like that. So you have this bunk ass looking fucking Iron Man, right? But you can buy the nanotech suit, the Mark 47 for fucking $20 and look like actual Iron Man.
Can I just say
finally.
that the nanotech fucking suit is like the worst suit? It's my least favorite suit. I
like that one.
No, I like it, but the look of it does not look as good as like
the way
Iron
it
Man
looks.
2.
Okay.
Like the suit is dope. It does dope things, right? It's the ideas behind it are cool, but
on the hoodie strings and
because it looks like it looks like skin. Like that's the awkward part of it, where it's like honestly the OG Iron Man suit has like, you know, bulk and like toughness to it.
Well, I think
it looks like armor versus
exactly.
Like,
it looks like it actually makes sense. Like when you look at like the way the arc reactor fits in, that it has all those moving parts. Like when you think about the suit up scenes, the way everything starts fitting in together, it like makes sense. You're like, oh, I can see that being a thing. Or like the suitcase one where he pulls it open and shit.
Yeah.
You're like, and the way it like all the way down the arm.
Yeah, it locks out. Yeah.
And then in the nanotech one, it's just like, it's literally like a white filter, and it's really whack. I don't like that transition.
So I agree. I like the Iron Man suit from Iron Man 2. I think it's the Mark 42. That one I really like.
Tell us, Stark.
That's the
one I worked on the most in my lab.
Oh my fucking god.
That's the most care I had.
That's the classic red and gold or the red and bronze, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't like the coloring of the nanotech suit.
He said hot rod red.
The nanotech suit has a different red to it.
It's got that darker red and then that like kind of muted like bronze to it, or like almost silvery, and like That was my problem with in what was it, Iron Man 3 with the suitcase one? Is that Iron Man 3 or is that Iron Man 2?
That's Iron Man 2.
Yeah, the suitcase one had that same silver on it. It was like
That
it
was
still
so
had
dope how you
bronze
equipped
pieces.
that one though.
Yeah, the way that it went on is awesome. I just didn't like the coloring because like
I think the
bright red and
silver
bright gold.
looks good, but the OG like suit colors are just really good.
Yeah. So like that, I think that's the problem for me with the nanotech. I actually like the way that it works and the way that he can transform things into weapons.
Yeah, I think we can all agree the idea
suit.
of nanotech is just like
the idea and execution of him like moving, like when he moves apart from his ankle and then he like does the shield thing, like that's all super sick.
Beat up. Yeah.
But it's like everything besides that. Like when you look at the suit by itself and he's like walking up, it's just like a shades of red. Whereas like the other suit has like nice contours. It has like chest piece outlines and like
it's a suit of armor.
It seems functional, whereas the nanotech is just a blank slate of red paint. You know?
Anybody think it was a little fucked up that Rescue, the one for Pepper, right, was an old school like Iron Man suit? It wasn't nanotech. He was like, nah, only I get nanotech.
I think that one he like made before. I think there was a reference in one of the movies. But I was gonna say he had one move that reminded me of like Green Lantern, where it's like you have all this like thought to like how to form something, and the one move he does where he plants
punches
himself, and he turns his arms into like walls, and I'm just like, what the fuck was that?
Dude, I'll never understand that from like a comic book perspective or just like a writing perspective, where you're like, what's really cool about what's cool about being able to comprehend and make anything out of light? Punching someone with a bigger fist. What the fuck?
That fits.
That's so stupid.
Come on, that fits.
Dude, you wouldn't even do something cool and like fuck around with people and like make like a snake and like like different dude, you turn into a crane, like different shit like that. No, you just go.
You gotta be careful, Jared. We did get a race car track.
Now the
dude, stupid.
The dope parts when he's like, Thor hit me. And the giant fucking beam.
Well, it's like the callback from the first Avengers where like it juiced him up and then.
Well, I think those things are dope because it's also like you saw that like they do team up attacks in the comics and also like the games like X-Men Legends and some of the older Ultimate Alliance
so good.
Where you had the combo attacks. Like seeing that in the movie was just so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things of you want to see more of them, but I think they pulled it off well and they were very smooth. And it also calls back to the previous Avengers movies or previous movies in general. Every time something beats Tony Stark's suit, there's a new iteration and there's a new reason why. So it's like, oh, the suit flies to him when he does like the whole fucking hand shit or whatever. And he looks like Rock Lee where he's all like doing that.
Yeah.
But, and then after that, it's like, well, that's not the most reliable method. So what if the suit's just always on me? You just see that process develop as the movies go on. I think that's the coolest part.
That's why I like the suit up where he pulls the hoodie
strings. The fucking strings, he puts it through his thumbs. He's like, it's super sick,
it's like,
dude.
That's
it's
what's cool
so
about the nanotech one is because of the whole fight with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Like, so he can't get into the suit. So he's like, how do I contest the whole fight with Ant-Man? Like, that's what made him go to the nanotech.
Yeah, it's like now you can't get in the suit because it's all on. Like, it's,
No, they honestly, in the MCU, they did such an amazing job with the Iron Man character.
Yeah.
Which I do want to say, I know you guys haven't watched it yet, but Wakanda Forever.
I was gonna ask because I knew you were probably gonna say something about it. So.
It's good
because I've heard it like just.
So it's better than Thor: Love and Thunder and Multiverse of Madness.
I will tell you right now, it's the best Marvel movie that has come out this year. Best comic book movie? No, that goes to the Batman. The best Marvel movie? Absolutely, bar none. But what I will say though is that the story feels very similar to the first one.
Wait, best Marvel movie this year or best Marvel movie in general?
No, best Marvel movie this. It don't come close to the first one like that.
Because that was going to be my question. Because like people on Twitter were, it was either you really liked the movie or you hated it.
So I feel like given the circumstances of like the situation of Chadwick Boseman passing and all that,
right? It's
really well done for having to scrap a story out of nothing.
Okay.
And make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're like, because you have to give it a little bit of credence. Because you're like, well, why didn't they just do this? Well, it's like, well, because the guy's dead. You can't do that.
He's dead.
You know?
Yeah.
But
The
he was honestly
story-
such an amazing pick.
Yeah, he was
my
really
God.
good.
Dude, Rand cried like 4 times because there's a lot of homage to him.
Well-
They honor him in a very classy way while also making sense to the story. Like the characters, it's not like they're just throwing it in the movie because Chadwick died. It's like no, the country lost its king. Shuri lost her brother. Angela Bassett's character lost her son.
They put it
like,
into the story.
They integrated it very well. That's
awesome.
And it's
That's
also like
really
that's
cool.
the main point of contention, which is why I said it feels similar to the first one, because that is the main point of contention of the first movie, is he has to discover what it is to be a ruler and to be the Black Panther because his dad's gone. Which Shuri, which this isn't a shock, this isn't a spoiler, it's in the fucking trailer.
Right.
Shuri becomes a Black Panther. She has to figure out what it means to be a leader and to be the Black Panther. So it's like a very similar story, but in a different way.
They
The
had to
villain-
shift the focus to her, and I give her that story that they were originally going to give to
and they
him.
had to flesh it out. The Ironheart's character, well done, really well done. I enjoyed that a lot.
Okay.
Ironheart.
Ironheart's in.
You don't know about Ironheart?
Oh, wait. Never mind.
Ironheart's in the movie.
She's
Yeah,
in the trailer, bro. What do you mean?
Oh.
No, I remember seeing that.
So Ironheart is like the black girl who makes the suit, and Tony Stark's her AI. That's like the common.
Yeah.
That's how it got popular.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do with it going forward, but what I will tell you is that she goes to MIT, which there are some characters in the MCU that also are going to MIT. So I think that's gonna be a connection. That's
cool.
Ned and Zendaya's character, MJ. So
Yeah, MJ.
you know, so I think that's the connection there. But Ironheart was really well done. I liked seeing it. I'm not really familiar with the character, but I thought it was well done.
Okay.
They wrote it in well. And then, like I said, Shuri's character was really good. I liked the way they wrote it. The villain was also similar to the first one, where you feel like where you can connect with the villain, which I always think is a good villain, is someone who you agree with, but you don't agree with their actions. Like you understand the reasoning. Dude, Tony Stark has probably the worst villains. Like, to be honest,
which is crazy because he has good movies because of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He has like some of the best MCU movies, but with dog shit villains. He's carrying the whole franchise on his back. But like I said, the story overall was like good. I honestly gave it like an 8. I don't know a lot that I disliked about it, but that's also like a little bit of blinders on because I didn't go in with any expectations. I wasn't being very critical. The movie may feel long to some people, but I generally liked everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you liked it, I'll like it.
And there wasn't like really bad.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
There
Sean?
wasn't,
I like Thor: Love and Thunder, so.
dude.
No, you said if you like it, I'll like it. Though, like, you and
I don't
Jared
think
like the same thing.
I don't think there is any. Like that's what I mean. Is Jared's more critical of Marvel movies?
But
So it's
what
like if
Marvel
he
movie
likes it, then I'll like
So
it.
if he likes
like,
it,
What's
then
your
I'll
least
definitely
favorite
like
Marvel movie?
If you don't say the one that's on the top of my head right now, I'm judging you. And
Multiverse
there's
of
one.
Madness.
Wait,
I don't think that's the worst.
I don't.
Did you
say
like
that's,
that shit?
that's,
Hold
that's,
on.
that's the,
I was
no,
about to
you
say,
said
did
the
we
one I
talk about
liked the
this in the pod-
least. You said the one I liked the least.
Okay,
the
but
one
okay.
when we
what's
talked
your
about it on the podcast.
worst Marvel movie? Is it Multiverse of Madness?
Worst Marvel movie? Like worst made?
Yeah, in your opinion, what's the worst?
Which
Marvel
one do you like the least, or what does he think analytically is the worst? I think is what he's trying to clarify.
movie? In your opinion, what is the worst Marvel movie? Like to you, Sean, what is the worst Marvel movie?
Yeah, I'd have to go.
All right, motherfucker,
I'd
go
have to
back
go
to
with
that
Multiverse of
podcast.
Madness.
No way, because you were defending that shit like
I-
five episodes ago.
I didn't dislike it, but I'm saying out of all of the Marvel movies that are out,
Hold
I
on,
would
hold
pick
on.
that.
All right,
I
pause.
would put that one least on my
Pause.
list.
You liked Thor: Dark World? That movie fucking sucks.
I mean, like, I just think that the characters in Thor: Dark World are cooler. Like the movie sucks, yeah, but like,
Dude,
I
you
still
want me to
like
be Thor real quick?
more.
Oh, Havati, yeah, like that's his whole character, and he's so boring.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I never would have expected that. That's crazy. Damn.
Yeah.
that's.
I didn't like Multiverse of Madness that much, but wow, I was not expecting that.
What's your worst?
I'd probably the one I forget the most is Dark World. So
it's easily
Yeah,
the
I
most
mean-
forgettable. I enjoy the first Thor because it's interesting seeing that story flesh out and come together.
Yeah.
But Dark World like does nothing for me. You're just like, wow.
Yeah,
When's the
like-
movie end? Like,
I feel like that's the movie I don't remember like at all. It's probably Thor: Dark World, which is why I would put it there.
There's
That's how
like
I feel,
nothing
like-
quotable about it. There's
but
no
honestly,
scenes that pique my interest. like-
Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder would probably be pretty low for me. It's just those are recent, so I remember a lot about them. But like I said, with Thor: Dark World, I can barely drop what happened in the movie because I know they were going for the reality stone and all that, and the whole the blood
yeah.
thing.
It's the
but
Dark
it's like,
Elves, and they're gonna
The
take
Dark
over.
Elves, yeah.
what sucks because I
amazing.
thought the Dark Elves actually looked cool. Like
Yeah.
their design was really
they
cool.
did.
I thought.
I think conceptually it was a potentially good movie. It's just everything about it was not a good movie. I still
Wasn't
think
that the struggle with
still-
their relationship too in that movie? I think this is what was happening in there
Yep.
too. Yeah.
So it was just not a very compelling story. So I don't know. I think that's like easily the worst one in my eyes, for sure.
Yeah, I was
By
just
far.
going off of that. The only Marvel movie I fell asleep the first time watching it through was Multiverse of Madness. So
You know what's
Like-
funny? I've only slept through one Star Wars movie ever. You guess which
Mhm.
one it is?
which one?
Take a guess. Just guess. 1 through 9.
Phantom Menace.
Fuck no, I love that movie. I was like 5, bro. I love that fucking
Okay.
movie.
Hey, I was just taking a shot.
Yo, I got high to that shit, man. Fucking Tropic Thunder.
Well, I mean, it had to be one of the newer ones then. One of the last three.
Solo.
It was the I think Solo is
think-
like the GOAT.
Dude, what's
Well,
crazy is
I'm sitting here trying to think. Like, it has to be something recent.
So
right?
I think number 9 was the only one I fell asleep to. I literally
Okay.
I fell asleep
Fair.
because I was like,
Remember.
what the fuck is this bullshit?
I
We're
don't
like,
think I watched it from start to end,
Kylo Ren, and she's like the Emperor's daughter. Kylo Ren and her have this whole love thing. She gets like the blade, and she looks at the ship. There's like a I couldn't do it. I literally was so I've never felt that way. Like I liked 7 and 8, but like number 9, I legit like fell asleep, and I did not feel bad. I wasn't
there
like,
was
I fell asleep. I was like,
there was
I
a
fell
lot
asleep.
of really slow moments in that movie too, and it felt like that movie was way too fucking long.
I know it's slow when Shaun recognizes that it's slow. Like when
Yeah,
he's like,
like-
when Shaun essentially says the movie has a pacing issue.
Sean's
Like-
life moves at 10 miles, like, or I'm saying, like 10 times speed of everyone
Yeah.
else. So
And so like when I'm sitting there and I'm like, like get on with it, like that's bad because like it felt like they made it that long because they were like, it's a Star Wars movie, it has to be long.
Yeah, they'll stay in the theater. Don't worry.
Yeah, like we have to make this longer because it has to fit in with the whole Star Wars movies being long.
So can I just say something about the whole Star Wars thing? So they came out with the Lego Star Wars, where it's all 9 movies together. It's the Skywalker saga or whatever is
Yeah.
what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys play that at all or seen anything on it?
No, I've watched a little bit of gameplay of it. My cousin
Okay.
actually
Played it
brought it
before.
Okay,
up.
so
but I did
this is-
love the Lego Star Wars game.
Yeah.
This is what I want to tell you. So I went in there with not watching any gameplay. What I thought it was the same Lego Star Wars games that I played before, just
Okay.
all put together and kind of remastered and all that. It's not. It's its very own game, and the game plays much more like a third-person shooter. Like
action.
it's literally like the camera is like behind your character like this. It's not like as top down as
top
before.
down. Okay.
And the lightsaber combat's like fun. And I was like, why is this fucking Lego game so good?
Why
I'm
are Lego
like-
games always so well done?
I'm
Yeah.
like, who the fuck has any business making this Lego game this good? This is fucking dumb. I was angrily playing it because I was like, even the fucking Lego games are better than half these
Right,
AAA games. Like,
Right.
Can Lego do any wrong? Like even their movies,
No.
like enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
dude,
Can
like
Lego
the
fuck
Lego
up?
movie is like really fucking funny. Like
Bro,
I don't know.
Lego's been consistent for years, dude. Like
Yeah, Lego's
They're
the Chick-fil-A of entertainment, dog.
Yeah.
honestly,
everything-
every form of entertainment, it's just you can rely on Legos to do something good.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
every
it was-
single thing they've put out, including physical and digital
So,
fucking media, is
Yeah.
bangers.
Me and Nick were playing it together, and we were actually doing remote play on Steam because the only problem with the game that I have is that you can't play online multiplayer, which is so dumb. It's
Okay.
only couch co-op or single player. So we were actually using remote play on
So
Steam,
that's
which
so
I
weird
haven't
in this
used.
day and age.
Yeah,
And it honestly,
I kind of miss the couch co-op thing, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like games should have both. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like online's such a huge
Just-
thing, but you should also allow people to play within their home.
like
Yeah.
peer-to-peer networking is not hard, so I feel like it should be a given.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Lego's
the
like,
remote
nah,
play
fam,
on.
be a family.
Yeah, why don't you get some friends and have
Build-
them come over,
build-
loser?
Build together, loser.
Yeah. I'm
Build
sorry,
some
no, I'm
friends.
friends. Yeah, like, but that's what's cool about remote play on Steam, where you can play as if it is couch co-op. So Nick and I were doing that.
Okay.
And honestly, there was no latency issues with me and him, but maybe that's because we're in the same house.
In the same house.
So like, I don't know. But we're both like, for the first 2 hours, we're both like, why is this game so good? Like, I don't know. I haven't touched a Lego game in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all good, but they're like, oh, they're just like joke games. And I didn't feel like this was a joke game. I was like, it's literally just Star Wars through a Lego medium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it does still have like some of its jokes and shit.
Yeah,
But I was just like,
Star Wars has that.
I would hope so.
Right,
It's
like
a Lego game.
Like imagine if Lego was like dead ass serious though.
Yeah.
The best ones are the Legos where like they blow up and the characters just sitting there looking like, what the fuck?
No, there's one in one of them where he's like,
fall apart.
He has like the lightsaber. He's like, and it like shoots out his face. So like those moments are funny. I was just like shocked at how seriously good it was. Where if you just sat down and you were like, all right, graphics, great, like. It has depth of field in the Lego game, which is like really funny to me.
Yeah.
Because like the camera loses focus as you get stuff farther out, and I'm like,
yeah,
it has like reflections and like
it's got ray tracing.
I'm like, I actually think it does because I looked at the sun at one point and I was like, damn. Like,
it's like, am I in a Lego game? I'm confused.
The skybox is beautiful.
Now, mind you, I was playing on epic settings and I have like the 3090, so everything's running like super smooth.
But I was like, honest now.
listen. I'm so happy with that shit. You don't even know. Like, I played Jedi Fallen Order yesterday, and Brandon goes, "What movie are you watching?" Because he sat down on the couch over here. He goes, "That's a game. What the fuck?"
That game is really fucking pretty though.
And I was like, damn, is that what it's like when you play on max graphics? That's cool.
Yeah. Like, dude.
How you guys feel about Jedi Fallen Order in general though? I haven't played that one. I played a little bit at your house.
I love that game.
So can I tell you something funny? Is I started a new game because I was like, man, it's been a while since I played this, and I only played a couple chapters. Yeah, it's been exactly 3 years. My saved game was legitimately exactly 3 years. It was November 13th of 2019. And that's when I like started over, and I was like, what the fuck kind of shit is this? It like threw me for a loop for a moment. So I've only played a little bit of it. My preconceived notion when I started playing it again was like, oh, this game's not like that good. I'm just gonna play the story figured out. And then I was playing the combat and I was like, maybe the game is fun. I'm also not playing on the hardest difficulty because I feel like when you do in this particular game, it starts feeling Souls-esque to where stuff just one-shots you. So I actually dropped, because I remember the first time I played it, that was one of my complaints. And then Shaun had said, like, oh no, it's not like that. And then I realized, oh, well, I was playing on the hardest difficulty where you have to have like input perfect parry timings and shit, which make the game not fun.
Like I'm playing.
Uh-oh.
He ain't playing shit. Dude, can we get this guy a fucking modem? Hey guys, so we actually had a network outage during that episode, like right towards the end. So that's where we're going to end this episode for this week, episode 11. We'll see you guys next week on episode 12. We don't really have strict topics we're going to talk about, but we'll see you there if you tune in. Catch you later.